Citizens of the metaverse, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Gaming Institute podcast. My name is Ben Gothard. I'm your host. I'm trying to get through that as quickly as possible. You don't care about me. We want to hear from the guest. Jan, thank you so much for coming on the show today, my man. You're a legend. I'd love to hear your story. Then I want to hear about some of the projects you're working on, and then I want to get your perspective on the metaverse. So welcome to the show. Love to hear about you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ben. Yeah, it's lovely to talk about metaverse. And I'll start with a short introduction about myself. I started working in blockchain in 2017. Started being interested in blockchain around 2015, 2016. And I really wanted to work into blockchain because that's the only way that you really learn about the space, in my opinion, or by experiencing or doing a lot of stuff with blockchain as well. And at that time, like in 2017, working in blockchain was something for the nerds and pretty geeky. All the developers around me were into blockchain and they understood blockchain technology. And me as a marketeer, I wanted to understand it as well. And that's why I fell into that rabbit hole and I started learning a lot of stuff. And and then I joined the first company I worked for in blockchain was Delta. So Delta is the portfolio tracking application with now 3 million users, and there was responsible for marketing and business development. And the company was sold to eToro 2 years ago, and that's also when I jumped, or a little bit later, I jumped to Venly. And Venly is about blockchain technology provider, so it's even more in the geeky space or in the tech space. And they're the CMO of the company. I'm also one of the first hires, and now we're growing pretty fast and doing, in my opinion, awesome stuff as well.
Amazing. Well, first of all, congratulations on your ride up. I mean, starting off, just getting into it and now being the CMO of a company. I mean, that's pretty substantial there. So congratulations. Also, power to the nerds. I'm definitely a nerd. I'm not really, I'm not really a programmer myself, but some of the smartest people that I know are programmers, and like
Indeed.
Programmers are the rock stars of today's world now. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And I always say the same, like the smartest people I know, they're in blockchain, or they're in blockchain technology. And like the second smartest people I know, they're into microdosing psychedelics. So that's also like a good trend that will maybe lift up in the coming years.
So I agree totally. I've noticed that as well. I want to jump back to when you first got into crypto, because this is so interesting to me. When you first got in and then you're learning about it, or however you got into it, and then you went down the rabbit hole, right? I feel like everybody has that moment where like something clicks with them and down the rabbit hole they go and they never come out because they're just in it forever. So why do you think that happens that way? Like, why is it such a powerful draw of like when it clicks, you go down the rabbit hole? Like, and what was that like for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. I believe it's mainly from the strong community behind everything that's crypto. When you start to learn stuff and research on specific topics, then you get in contact with other people. You join a Telegram group, a Discord group, and then you see 500 links a day that might be interesting. And then you go check those, and then you continue. And then the awesome thing about blockchain technology or the blockchain space is that every day or every week you have new innovations, new tools, new stuff that you thought, oh, this might be cool if that existed. Well, 7 days later, it exists and already has like 20,000 users. So that's what triggered me. Also, like the speed of execution, speed of testing, the level of research and smart people again that were implicated in this. That's what really triggered me to try to understand what blockchain technology is, and then from there trying to see the potential use cases for the world today.
So is it more of like there's just so much going on in such a strong community that when people first get in and they see it, they're like, oh my God, if I don't get in this and I don't get a part of it, I'm going to miss out. Like, is it really like FOMO driven, or do you think I'm sure part of it is, but do you think like the underlying technology is what keeps people there and the community is what actually keeps people in. Like, why is it so sticky?
I've, I believe it's mainly FOMO driven in the beginning. And yeah, for me, I can honestly say like the first ETH or BTC I bought was purely to make money or to earn on it. But then the things that keep you in crypto are more like, yeah, some use cases, some communities that you can learn new stuff from. And for me, it was after the FOMO, there came like the competition with myself to try to really understand the technology and being able to explain it. And also once you're in like the crypto communities, you start talking more with people that also or invest in crypto or know something about Web3. And then you want to be up to speed and you want to be talking about the same projects. Now with the NFT space, it's crazy. Everybody's talking about a specific NFT collection or an NFT game, or I don't know. And yeah, really trying to know all of those games, it's so hard to keep track with.
So I really like what you said about in the beginning, it was FOMO driven, and then you got into a competition with yourself to see how much you could really learn. Because I think in the beginning, like for sure, most people are going to get in it for the FOMO. Like they're hearing it, they're like, I can make crazy games, or this is new crazy technology. I don't get it at all, but I'm going to make trillions of dollars in 1 second. And then people get in and they're like, oh, wait a second. There's actually really cool stuff here. Like I didn't understand what I was getting into, but it's really, really cool. When you had that realization of like, I want to understand and I want to learn, how did you actually go about that learning process?
Well, one thing I did, and that wasn't the right way, I ordered the book about blockchain technology. And when you read a book about blockchain technology, you're already 2 years behind. So that wasn't the smartest thing to do. But then what I did, because I'm Belgian and I live in Belgium, and like Twitter is okay popular here, but not popular like in the US. And yeah, most people that are on Twitter are communities, very tech savvy people, but also Comic Con people here in Belgium. And I reinstalled my Twitter account and I started following the people that I wanted to follow and then continuing following other people. And that's how I got I would say my first good experiences with learning stuff about blockchain and seeing stuff, and then following some good influencers, bad influencers, seeing. And I remember the times of Ian Balina, seeing those kind of influencers as well. And from there, yeah, digesting as much content as possible. I'm also a really bad reader, so I had to look for videos and podcasts like this one to start, yeah, digesting all that information.
So it really seems like you just kind of dove in and you were like, all right, I just got to learn everything that I possibly can. Did you start from, okay, let me understand what a blockchain is. And then, okay, now that I understand what the underlying, because it seems like that's the most foundational technology. And then from there, it's like, okay, now I understand, I have my foundation. Now I can go like, okay, well, what the heck's Bitcoin? All right, well, now what actually is Ethereum? How are they different? Okay, well then now you can build stuff and smart contracts. So you can build, you have dApps and all this stuff, and then you have games and so like, how did you actually go about your learning pattern? Like, did you plan it out or did you just kind of go in and it's like, I'm just going to learn everything?
Yeah, so I try to learn everything, but I often compare it like my ride or the crypto ride or the blockchain ride is like a train ride, and then the train passes many stations, and then you can choose to hop off that station and dive deeper into that direction. Like I tried trading, shitty trader, so I stopped trading pretty quickly. Then there's the whole like DeFi space. That was interesting, but then again, DeFi was when I started DeFi was when I was working at Delta, and I went to the I think very first DeFi event in London, and DeFi there was still pretty complicated. It was not like the real use cases that we see in DeFi right now. Where in there is more about market making and liquidity pools for super small amounts, I would say. And then once it went through to the NFT station, that's when I was thinking, okay, the NFT space, and especially the gaming space with NFTs. That's something that really relates to what I want to know, to what I want to be better in. And then from there, I experienced more and more like into the DAOs or the whole Web3 environment, I would say, but more like Web3 linked to businesses today, how they can transform, how they can find new business models thanks to Web3. And this is like where I'm stuck now, or I want to stay, and I want to dive deeper into. But there's so much, there's so much stations, so much things that you can fall into other rabbit holes as well.
There are like an infinite number of rabbit holes. There are so many. I actually think it's really hard to like learn everything, which is why I really like what you said about the whole station analogy of, well, just pick the station that you want to go off into and like learn that part and get good at it. And that may be the station for you, or you may learn enough to realize that that's not what you want to do when you get back on the train and keep going. So I think that I actually think it's a really interesting analogy there. So when you were getting involved in the different projects that you've been involved with, how did you actually go about making the decision that those were the projects that you wanted to invest your time into? Because, you know, time's the most finite resource, and you got to allocate that really intelligently if you want to be at your highest level. So like, what was that thought process of, okay, this is the company that I want to work with, or this is the project that I want to be involved with?
Yeah. So first there needed to be a match, like more the vision and the positioning of that company. Like with Venly, or when it was Arkane Network before, was really about bringing blockchain to the masses through blockchain gaming adoption. And yeah, for me, blockchain gaming goes really well together with NFTs, and was again like a very early, I would say, tech or blockchain technology startup. And then the second thing is the team. So at Delta, I worked with an awesome team, and I wanted to work with an awesome team again, with really good people in product, and in marketing, and technology. And that's why I pretty quickly decided to jump on the Venly train, and to go further with Venly, and also to be, I would say, to get a piece of Venly in a shareholder plan. So that's what really interested me to be at the start of a vision that we wanted to be, or we want to be one of the biggest blockchain technology providers for today's companies. So that's what interests me most.
That's awesome. So let's dive in. For those who aren't really familiar with the Venly project, can you really like give us a crash course on what it is, you know, the overview, the problem you're trying to solve, the solution, and then like what you're actually doing there?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So we started with a wallet technology. So wallets, everybody uses a wallet if you're familiar with blockchain. Some wallets are linked to your exchange account. Some wallets are hot wallets, cold wallets. MetaMask is a wallet. And for us, MetaMask was already pretty advanced. So to add, like I would say, to add another blockchain to your MetaMask, because you can have your Ethereum by default, but then you can also add other layers or other blockchains to MetaMask, is something that we said, if we really want to adopt the mainstream users, especially if you want to adopt mainstream gamers to blockchain gaming, we're not going to get there with MetaMask and asking them to add another chain and then adding token contracts to your MetaMask, etc. And that's where we started with Venly as a wallet as a service company, where we had widget wallet solution and a wallet API solution. We quickly started working with companies like the Sandbox, for instance. Sandbox, one of the biggest metaverse or blockchain games right now, that is going live and now with their alpha. And from there, we started growing and onboarding more and more blockchain gamers. So we're really positioning in ourselves in the blockchain gaming space. And today we have more than 600,000 wallet users, or people that onboarded a specific blockchain game or blockchain project with our wallet services. And our wallet, so the big difference between our wallet and a MetaMask, I would say, is that our wallet is more an account. So you log in with your email address and your password, and then you have an account, and under that account you have all the wallets that you desire. So we support more than 12 different blockchains. You could have 5 wallets on the Bitcoin blockchain, 2 wallets on Ethereum, 5 on Polygon, 2 on Avalanche, etc., etc. And all those wallets are managed by your identity, so by your login, which could be linked to your Google account or your Facebook even, and you sign all the transaction with a simple PIN code. So it's different from MetaMask, where decentral knights would say, yeah, but it's not decentralized at all, and you don't hold your own assets and keys. Well, we're semi-custodial, so you can perfectly export your wallet with your assets, but we're gonna help you store the private keys as well, and we're gonna help you have a great experience in that game without having to think of all the troubles of private keys, etc., and storing those safely, but just linking it to your account, to your email address. So that's how we started with wallets, and then from there, with our wallet, we saw that there was, because we were in the NFT gaming space, a lot of transactions with NFTs, and our wallet supported NFTs, also like well visualized in the wallet. And then we saw the big marketplaces, the NFT marketplaces like OpenSea pop up, and our wallet is integrated in OpenSea. But we saw that more and more Polygon games or more and more projects were migrating from Ethereum to Polygon due to the high gas fees that everybody knows. And on Polygon, OpenSea at that time didn't have an NFT marketplace for Polygon, or they didn't support Polygon. So we said, okay, because we have a lot of Polygon NFTs, we're gonna build the very first NFT marketplace on Polygon, and we're gonna do this same way as our wallet. We're gonna be blockchain agnostic and say, okay, we have an NFT marketplace, and all NFTs on the chains that we support can be sold on that marketplace without people needing to know really that NFT was on a specific chain. Because with our wallets, you could purchase an NFT on Polygon with your USDC, and even if you didn't have a Polygon wallet or Polygon assets, you would just purchase them with your USDC, and we create you a Polygon wallet in the backend so that you have your NFT safely stored on a Venly wallet on a marketplace. So that's how we shifted from wallet only to wallet and NFT marketplace. And then around this, we have a whole set of NFT tools like Unity integration, NFT minting APIs, NFT analytics. Recently, we launched the NFT Shopify application together with Shopify to sell NFTs via Shopify application. We have NFT sending NFTs to email via APIs as well, which is pretty cool for mainstream usage. And that's how we then finally positioned ourselves as, okay, we're Venly, a blockchain technology provider, blockchain agnostic, bring blockchain to the mainstream users, mainly in gaming, but now also like in other sectors or industries like entertainment, e-commerce with Shopify, and fan engagement, et cetera, et cetera.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So basically, y'all are trying to help mainstream everyday people get into the world of crypto without getting wrecked on Spawn. Because I mean, that happens so often. I mean, I know when I first got started, I pissed away thousands of dollars just not knowing what I was doing, like trying to switch stuff between networks and fool around with the wallets. And I was like, I don't know what it takes a while, but it seems like what y'all are really doing is shortcutting that and helping people get in it without all of the risk. Like it seems like you're de-risking a lot of it for people getting into the game.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe something to add, we also give live support. So that gives us a good view about the average crypto investor or user. And we got a lot of questions to reset pins on wallets. So, and a pin is a 4 or 6 digit code. And so imagine how many people that we need to help with remembering a pin code. Then imagine how many people would have lost all their funds because they weren't able to store the private key safely. And so this is really, for us, the big mission to help those. And also, what also often happens is people, like you said, they transfer an Ethereum-based asset to a Polygon chain or to a Binance Smart Chain even. And then they just check on their wallet on Binance Smart Chain and they don't see the asset. So that's also something that happens so often. And for us, like crypto savvy people, it's so logical that you don't send a Binance Smart Chain asset to another chain. But for non-blockchain savvy people, this is just in Belgium we say Chinese, just impossible to understand. So with Venly, again, there you can export a wallet if you wrongly send an NFT to a Polygon chain, I would say, and it should be on the Ethereum chain, and you can export that wallet on Polygon, import it again on Ethereum just by doing 2 simple clicks in your Venly account, and then you would see those NFTs again. So we helped a lot of people not being wrecked. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I really think if we were to go back and look over the years at how many people came into the crypto ecosystem, but then they dropped off because of precisely this issue of like just not understanding how to do it and knowing the different chains, and specifically like with managing their funds and moving it and being able to use it. Like, think of how many people dropped off. Easily we've lost 10% of the total crypto market cap due to non-stickiness from tech issues like that are easy to fix now with what you have. So like, I mean, that's such an important thing, because really the name of the game, at least, what I see it is as getting people in and keeping them in this ecosystem. Because once people get in and they learn it, like, we're here for life, most of us. But it's just like that initial barrier to entry. That's such an important problem to solve. How did y'all identify this issue, and like, what was really how did you know that this was the thing that you wanted to solve? What was the catalyst for focusing on this specific issue?
Yeah, I believe getting a lot of feedback from our users. Also working with really good projects like the Sandbox, for instance. The Sandbox, they already had like a good understanding of what their mainstream users were, and with their vision on bringing mainstream gamers to their game, which is blockchain game, blockchain metaverse. That the connections was quickly made or quickly said, where we said this is not going to work if you expect everybody to have a MetaMask account, because of own experiences as well. We all lost money, and we all got hacked with a passcode, or we all had money on an exchange that went down. And yeah, we really wanted to be that trusted provider and that regulated player in the space, and seeing things way more long term, I would say, than the many cash grab projects that we will see in the space today as well. So this is why we took our time and we really said, okay, we want to build with the right fundamentals for the mainstream adoption. We don't want to build a project to onboard next month's all users and get as much ETH as possible from the next wave, but we want to be there for the next hundreds of years in the Web3 space.
I love that mindset. That's a very long-term mindset, because a lot of people are like, let me get in, let me cash grab, let me get out. And then, they don't stay around. But definitely the people who are in it for the long term. And by the way, that first group that I was, mostly trying to make people laugh with, my rendition of that. But I don't think that's the majority of people. I definitely think that is the exception. Like, I think the rule is, or what most people think is, okay, let me build for the long term. Let me really build long-term value and just stay in for as long as we possibly can, because as we're doing our thing and we're learning, we're growing, we're investing, we're compounding, like, that's when the real gains happen, is over time, throughout time. So that's refreshing to hear from somebody that is you're kind of like a guardian or a custodian, not in that way, but like you're kind of protecting all of your users, and you have a significant amount of users, so that's really, really important to hear. So moving from the wallet to the NFT marketplace, how did you make that transition within your team? Like, did you say, okay, half of us are going to work on this, half of us are going to work on that, and now, go forth and prosper? Like, how did that actually happen from a company perspective?
That's I think the best question that you could ask today. This is or was I would say a big challenge. Yeah, because our team is still very small. We're 18 people now. We're hiring about 10 people for the coming months. But with 18 people and I would say 6 persons working in engineering and on product, with one CPO, one product owner for our products. Because yeah, the Venly Shopify integration is also like a standalone product. Is super challenging. So in our mind, like the wallet, when you go to wallet.venly.io, you have the wallet product, and that wallet product is finished, it's ready. But of course, every now and then we add support for new chains, and now the UI of the wallet is outdated. So you want to redo the whole user interface. With our new design, we have better screens, better user experience as well. But then on the same time, we're still building that NFT marketplace, and that NFT marketplace, there again, like features, and we have a ton of features that we need to develop. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna split those products, and we're gonna have a product and engineering team on the wallet and a product and engineering team on the NFT marketplace, and then a standalone, I would say, a satellite product team that works on more NFT tools or integrations when we have integrations with Shopify or with other e-commerce platforms, or maybe even with other bigger players. Like a good client could be, but is not, but could be Adobe, where there is an extension to save a Photoshop or an Illustrator file to an NFT. So that will be then a third product team or satellite product team. So it's really, I'm always like internally, I'm always preaching to have a good focus on a specific product and specific business model, use case, industry that we want to market to. But now, yeah, it's a little bit all over the place because we do so much, and therefore we want to hire as much people as possible. But the core team is really responsible here, or going to be responsible for having all those product teams and products and visions aligned to really become, I would say, a bigger company. Because we already raised 2 million beginning of this year. We're gonna do a new round now because it's super hot. I wouldn't say everybody wants to invest in crypto companies, but we are really well placed, and we have a lot of potential VCs and investors that are lined up. Even if we didn't communicate it, we're gonna do a round. So the chances are big that we will raise again now to be sure to have enough funds and enough, I would say, power to bridge the crypto winter that will probably come again. I don't know when. And this is like, I love crypto winters. I don't love them personally because my portfolio goes down. But I love crypto winters for the tech in the space, because this is the time when the things are being built for the long term, and that the good players stay in crypto and they're not distracted by shitty NFT projects that flip overnight. Because we're distracted as well. We're still in the space. We try to trade, and sometimes we're distracted by products that want to have our technology, and then we move things to truly ape in, I would say. So yeah, that's why that's how we're going to see the next crypto winter to really continue building, continue hiring people, and bridge that with money from VCs. So yeah,
that is such an interesting like thought experiment that you just inspired in my brain of like all the people who are building this. I mean, y'all are not immune from what the market's doing either. You know, when we're in a bull run right now, but it's a little, things are moving and shaking as we're talking. So, you know, it's pretty volatile right now, but like when things are booming, I mean, you guys are seeing it. You guys are in it too. Like, how do you kind of, maybe you don't separate, but like talk me through that. Like, is there in some way, do you have to almost be like, okay, go away for right now, you know, the investor in me who wants to go, you know, play around with all these things and invest and deploy capital and, you know, be part of the hype. And then, but then the other part that's like, okay, well, I have an organization to run. I have a lot of things that I need to do and get done. And like, how do you separate those two things?
Yeah, I changed a little bit in my trading style. But that happens to, I believe, everyone that is in space for a certain amount of time. Then you get immune to big volatility changes. You're more in it for the long term, for the technology, like they would say on crypto Twitter. And that gives you like more relief. I don't check my portfolio every day, every 2 days, definitely, but maybe not every day anymore. And I don't trade every day. I just, I just have assets, and also have like almost always like a good portion of my portfolio that is sitting on stable coins so that I can buy back in if needed. But I know that I'm not gonna sell the top. I'm not gonna buy the bottom. That's not for me. So I'm just having peace with that. And yeah, in our space, we see a lot of stuff passing by. But also something in the space is that all the private investors get like the private rounds and seed rounds, they get good, I would say, good return on their investment. They also have to stake longer. But for us, seeing there are so many opportunities, so you don't need to ape into a new opportunity. And most of the time when a coin is listed and booms, it's already like a little bit too late to follow. So this immunity to those projects and those price actions helps me having more focus on the business.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about the future that you see for crypto and the metaverse of crypto gaming. I mean, you have a really, really interesting perspective because you're literally like hundreds of thousands of people, almost 1 million people are using your product. So you have insight into what people are doing and what's going on in this space that very, very few people actually have, despite all the YouTubers claiming that they know the next bit, So what do you actually see coming on the horizon for the crypto world in general? But then, also more specifically, like crypto gaming and the metaverse, like what do you really see coming in the future?
Well, what we see from data is that people are more and more interested in everything is crypto gaming, blockchain gaming, and metaverse as well. When you look at the sandbox, okay, they're going live now, but it's really like astronomous how many people that we onboard for the sandbox every day, and it's only getting more and more and more. So this is super interesting. And also, I would say it depends on the project, but some projects we could have a few hundreds of users, but a lot of support to do. But some projects that are really well done and with a really good user experience and good onboarding, we almost have no support to do for those projects because they really educate their users well. And this is helping. So this was something that we see as well. So this is really helping people sticking with those projects and or metaverse or games on the long term. So really having good retention goes with good user experience, good support, good onboarding, and a safe wallet in the backend maybe. So, and then in terms of data, like trading data, we don't really have trading data. We could, but that's also something that everybody could see, like traction. You could also measure traction in Twitter groups or Discord groups and see how much activity there is. And then the other things that we see is like migrations from one chain to the other. So this is pretty interesting because we see like projects coming to us to see if they can integrate our technology, are mostly projects that are not live yet. And there we see on what blockchains they are building. So we had a big Ethereum to Polygon move, but now we see also like other blockchains getting more and more traction. So yeah, that's interesting as well. Like Binance Smart Chain had a peak as well. Now Solana, we get more and more requests to add support for Solana. We don't have it yet. And then we see really like super smart teams seeing things on the long term as well. Like Hedera, for instance, working with Hedera is great blockchain and they have great use cases. So that's cool as well to see what they're focusing on and how they will pick a piece of that whole pie and what projects they want to give grants, because there's a lot of grants in the space as well. So that's what we see.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I want to be very respectful of your time. I'm very, very appreciative of all the time you've shared thus far. So I just want to ask one last question. Um, what question should I be asking you that I just wouldn't think to ask?
Oh, you just broke like the
Oh, sure.
the
Yeah.
last part of the sentence.
Yeah. Yeah. So what
Yeah,
question, can you hear me
there's
now?
me. I can't hear you.
Ah, okay. Well, folks, this sometimes happens with our technology.
Yes, I can't hear. Oh, just had one little sound.
Okay.
It's my connection this time. Ah, you're back.
Aha. Huzzah. All right. So
Yeah.
the question is, what question should I be asking you that I just wouldn't think to ask?
Oof. Um, the, a good question that yeah, I didn't think it was a good question, but when I asked Sébastien Bourget, one of the founders of the Sandbox, he has 2 kids, and I asked him, would you push your kids to spend as much time as possible in the metaverse and working in the sandbox and developing stuff in the sandbox, or not? So what's your vision on health and the metaverse? And yeah, his answer, before I'm going to share my answer, his answer was that he wanted to push his kids in the first years of their life to read as much books as possible before they got into the whole digital space. And for me, like answering that more philosophical question, should we spend as much time as possible in the metaverse or not? I would say that we're already living in a metaverse. When we check Instagram every day, that's our digital life, digital profile. When we play The Sims or Roller Coaster Tycoon, it's like kind of metaverses. And I believe it's not bad. I believe that Web3 technology will help yeah, giving more sense to metaverse or to a digital life and not be like senseless, I would say, with taking an Instagram picture every day and sharing it. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's with Web3, yeah, we're going to see more use cases that could help the world and not only our digital self. And there was a really good Twitter poll, but I forgot what results, or yeah, I know on average what the results were, but I forgot who did the Twitter poll, but it was, if you have your digital self in the metaverse, your digital avatar, who would you want it to be, the copy of yourself in the real life, but then digitally, somebody totally different, or an extension of yourself? And a lot of people answered that extension. So they don't want to be the same person in the metaverse that they are in real life. That's super cool. So you can do more in the metaverse, and you can also become more in the metaverse. So that's, yeah. If my kids later grow up, I would try to not push them, of course, but try to steer them into that direction of having like a better, or not a better version, but another longer version of yourself in digital, but also like for the good, not just for taking selfies and putting them online.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you again so much for coming on the show today. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing everything. I know you're a busy man, so thanks for carving out the time. I appreciate it.
Lovely. Thank you, Ben. It was great talking with you.
Thanks. You're the man. To everybody who's watching and listening, thank you very, very much. And I will see you all in the metaverse. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.